Here we go then with a brand new season for Ipswich Town, live on BBC Radio Suffolk, and they are back in the big time. It's Sunderland first up at Portman Road, where we'll hear from the club's greatest ever captain, Mick Mills, in a moment. He's alongside your commentator, Brenna Woolley.
Welcome to a new season. That's a key word, new. A new look Ipswich Town sees a new manager lead a new group of players and a new division. Of course, it's the division we'll want to be in, because after an absence of just one season, thankfully, Ipswich Town are back in the big time, with Gary O'Neill taking charge of the Blues for the first time this afternoon. Incidentally, the 43-year-old's the first Town manager since Bobby Ferguson 44 years ago to start his Town tenure in the top flight. It's been a long 16 weeks waiting for today to come around, but the Premier League is back at Portman Road, and Portman Road certainly looks, feels and sounds ready. What an atmosphere. The first of 38 live commentaries on BBC Radio Suffolk is on the way. It's Town trying to make a winning start against a club they can use as an inspiration. Last season, Sunderland, along with Leeds, bucked the trend of newly promoted sides going straight back down, so it can be done. Someone with hundreds of top-flight games under his belt, Mick Mills, is alongside me for this one, and become accustomed to incredible atmospheres here in recent years, Mick, and today's going to be another special one, isn't it?
Yes, very much so. I think that the atmosphere at this ground has got better and better, of recent years, even better than when I played. We thought in those times it was something special, but, the local people have really responded in creating an atmosphere. It's backed up by the club. They've done their bit as well, but before we speak about today's game, I'd just like to say that it is the end of an era. I think that the Kieran McKenna teams of the last 3-4 years, now they've gone, and I think that they will go down in history as being one of the best teams to watch that we've ever had. I really did enjoy watching them. They've now gone. This is totally different. I cannot believe it. When I've been trying to write down all the names, I've had to concentrate on the spelling because I do not know the players, and it's going to be very, very interesting. My first thought, on paper, we look a stronger team. That may be because Dara O'Shea has gone to right back, Lukic has come in to the midfield, but I think defensively and in midfield we're going to be strong. Up front, I think the new manager, Gary O'Neill, is going to rely on speed and ability.
The players are in the tunnel. The 22 players who will be starting this game, the other substitutes in dribs and drabs, heading towards both benches down below us. There isn't an empty seat inside Portman Road, as you can probably gather from the beat of the music behind me. The atmosphere is rather lively. The Sunderland supporters, so many of them in their traditional red and white stripes, occupying the upper half of the cobbled stand opposite and the bottom right-hand third, as well as once more on the giant screen over in the far right corner we see the two captains shoulder to shoulder, Dara O'Shea alongside Granit Xhaka, getting ready to lead out their two teams on the opening day of the Premier League season. There rings the bell. Out come the two sets of players. In amongst the pyrotechnics, Dara O'Shea, the Ipswich Town captain, waves to the crowd. In behind him, one of the 7 debutants, Kjell Scherpen, the 6'9" Dutch goalkeeper. Town will be playing when they take off those tracksuit tops in their traditional blue shirts, white shorts and blue socks. Sunderland, by the looks of things, certainly their shorts and their socks, are an away kit of a light pink colour. Well, let's look at the two sides. 7 debuts in this Ipswich Town lineup, if you include Julio Enciso, back following his loan spell here a couple of seasons ago, now a permanent addition from Strasbourg. The others that have never played for Ipswich Town before: Scherpen, Diop, Lukic, Fatawu, Maeda and Emerson. I mentioned Scherpen, who will be in goal for Ipswich Town this afternoon. A back four of Dara O'Shea, the captain, Issa Diop, Jacob Greaves, Leif Davis. Greaves and Davis, the only two survivors from the Liverpool team of 2 years ago. O'Shea hadn't quite signed at that point. The midfield two, Sasha Lukic alongside Marcelino Nunez, Then the three of Abdul Fattawu, Julio Enciso and Dejan Maeda. Up top, the Brazilian striker Emerson, who's got a couple of goals in recent weeks in pre-season, which will have helped boost his confidence ahead of his competitive debut in English football. On the bench, Walton, Furlong, Kipre, Ouattara, Humphreys, McAteer, Egerle, Clark hoping to feature against his former club, and Akpom, who's done well in pre-season. Contrasting with Sunderland, they've only got one debutant in their side. It's been a summer of stability in the northeast, which will have delighted the Black Cats fan base. Meunier starts at right back, former Paris Saint-Germain and Dortmund player, bags of top-level experience at World Cups and Champions League. Roofs is their goalkeeper, had a really good season last time around, 10 clean sheets. The back four, same system as Town: Meunier, Ballard, O'Nien, Reinildo. Then you've got Xhaka, the captain, alongside Siddiqui. What phenomenal signings they were 12 months ago, Xhaka in particular. Then you've got a three across the park, Hume, who tends to be a right back by trade, but he's playing right wing, Lefay in the 10, and then Angulo down the left-hand side. Brobby starts up top. On the bench, Elborg, Talby, Rigg, Mundell, Alderete, Isidore, Diarra, Mukiel and Joslan. Incidentally, there are 10 different nationalities in the Ipswich Town team, 9 different nationalities in the Sunderland side, and across the 22 players we have a total of 17 different nationalities, which must be up there as some kind of record. So just in general, how are you feeling about Ipswich Town and their chances this season? Mick, they're such an unknown quantity, it's very difficult to say, isn't it, surely?
Well, I'm just sort of delighted to be back in the top level, and I think that we deserve to be there, first and foremost. There has been a lot of business done in the summer, you know, and that's the only thing that you are going to be viewing a lot of new individuals, a brand new team, and it will take time to get used to what they're trying to do. I just hope we can get off to a very good start. We're taking on a team that have done last year what we want to do this year. So the Sunderland are a real example for any promoted team. You know, I just hope that we get going immediately. It'll be really difficult, as I say. A lot of new players, brand new team. Let's wait and see.
The fourth first-day meeting between these two sides. The previous three, there was a 3-3 draw and a couple of wins for either side. All of them either at Roker Park or the Stadium of Light. The first time they've met in Suffolk on the opening day. The referee in all black, Farai Halam, who's always been impressed with whenever I've seen him in charge. Hopefully that's not the kiss of death. Premier League football returns to Portman Road, and it's live on BBC Radio Suffolk. Play underway. As I suggested, Sunderland are indeed in their changed kit of all pink. Ipswich Town in blue, white, blue, playing from left to right. Maeda, his first involvement, former Celtic player. The Japanese takes the ball off Meunier. And it was Hume who thought about taking a quick throw in far side for Sunderland, who finished 7th in the Premier League last season, which was outstanding. A really strong start for them, helped them last season to get a footing in the division, and that breathed confidence into Régis Lebris's side. 5 wins and 2 draws from their first 9 at this level. Here is O'Nien, one of the 2 centre-halves that maybe Town can get at, Ballard and O'Nien. Decent players, been excellent servants to Sunderland down the years, but with the right productivity, creativity and guile from the likes of Enciso and Emerson, perhaps Town can get some joy against them. There is the left back, Reinildo. Lots of Champions League experience with Atletico Madrid in the past, but they've thrown to Brobby. There is Diop, one of 2 former Fulham players in this Ipswich Town side. A decent World Cup with Morocco, the big number 6. Sherpin right-footed the goalkeeper over halfway. A little header down by Ballard. Ipswich have it on the far side of the field. There is Nunez, infield to Lukic, number 23. Back with Diop. Pretty much every touch from a player in blue being applauded by the home crowd. Greaves, what an excellent debut against Liverpool 2 years ago on this pitch. Ball just, though, on that occasion, it was miscued off the outside of his left boot and is into the crowd far side. It's another throw to Sunderland, which Hume will take. Looking forward to Brobby, hooked forward and away by Greaves at left back. Bouncing ball's nodded to the edge of the Ipswich area. Diop leaves it for his goalkeeper. Sherpen finally got there with a hesitation between the two. Not quite on the same wavelength, but the big man in all green gets on the ball eventually before throwing it out to the right-hand side and O'Shea.
Yeah, I think Diop was the one in the right and the goalkeeper was in the wrong there. That was clever play just to leave it for the goalkeeper rather than sort of hit it long up the field. So that's the type of thing you just have to sort of get used to each other, and it will come within time.
It wasn't until November, of course, at Tottenham that Ipswich Town got their first Premier League win a couple of years ago. We hope it won't quite take that long. And of course, only one on this pitch all season, the Christmas victory over Chelsea, which was such a highlight for Ipswich Town fans. Thoroughly deserved that victory as well. Here is Sherpen from outside his area, hits the ball long. Greaves had gone into attack. Town have got a man down. Fatawu tries to do something with the ball. There is Xhaka to Hume, through to Brobby. Brobby might have a chance to get goal side of Leif Davis. Here's what a chance for Sunderland, early doors. Brobby! Great recovery from Leif Davis, who quite rightly celebrates as if he scored a goal, but what a chance that was for Sunderland.
Yeah, real chance it really was, but you know, prior to that attack, when the throw-in was being taken down here, Diop went up to a forward position. We obviously were supposed to do something to go long, and we didn't. And we ended up with Nunes as centre-back.
There's a real chance for Sunderland. Good recovery from Leif Davis, though. Corner kick to Sunderland, live on BBC Radio Suffolk Sport in the 4th minute. In it comes low from Xhaka. Not good enough. Headed away by Davis. Nodded out by Enciso. Appeals for handball. Tries his luck from distance, but he missed by distance.
Yeah, it's just those little bits of understanding, the things you have to bring off the training ground and go with it. You know, because Diop goes forward from a throw-in, and then we decide, the throw-in taker, we decide to go backwards. Now that was a problem because you've got your centre half up the pitch, and momentarily I looked at the defensive side and I thought, blimey, we've got Nunes back there. Anyway, it didn't happen immediately, but when it did...
Sherpen a mistake, or we just got away with it, but that was awful to see. Oh, he was so lucky there. That would have been calamitous. Here is Lukic giving it back to the goalkeeper. One touch from him. He'd be well advised to go long, which thankfully for him, his team in my heart, he's decided to do. Nunez, the ball rather slides up him on the halfway line. O'Shea battling. The overhead was attempted theatrically by Ngulo, the Ecuadorian. Reinildo with a throw-in to O'Nien, who joined Sunderland in League One. He's been there right the way through the journey, the former Wycombe and Watford player. Long diagonal ball to the far side, looking for Hume. Actually, Sunderland have got 3 players in Ballard, O'Nien and Hume, who played in the last fixture here when these two sides met in the Championship a couple of years ago.
Yeah, the game started with plenty of energy from both sides, but then we've made the 2 or 3 little errors that you don't want to make, and what you mustn't do immediately after is take that pace out of the game, become too cautious. We're in the early minutes of the game, we've got to match Sunderland for pace and determination.
Leif Davis swiftly throwing the Newcastle United supporter. We'd love to have an impressive afternoon against their northeast rivals. Out for another throw-in, which again Hume seems to be taking far side rather than Meunier. It goes short, gets it back, does Hume, thinks it down the line. The legs of Lefay are taken away. He's a really talented player, Enzo Lefay. Will drift in and out of games, but when he's in games, opposing defences and midfields tend to know about it. Reinildo straight to O'Shea. O'Shea dinks infield away from Siddiqui. Through a little gap square, he goes to Nunez. Nunez up towards Emerson. In front of him is Enciso. Enciso spins, has a go. Blocked off by O'Nien. And as far as Lukic holding in midfield. Here's O'Shea for Ipswich Town. The captain knocks a ball and headed towards goal by Emerson. Palmed by Roofs to his right-hand side. It was a long-range header, if you like, all of 18 yards. Roofs eventually got it under control.
Yeah, first bit of good individual play by a Town player, and that was Dara O'Shea, and it ended up with a very, very good attack.
Humes carried the ball a distance. Good step in from Diop to take the ball away from Brobby's flight path, and it's clipped away by Davis off a Sunderland player So that will be a throw into Leif Davis on the far side of the field. A couple of goals for him here in pre-season. A couple of weeks ago, Leif Davis. There he is with the ball above his head. Chance, of course, to play against some of his former teammates on Tuesday night, potentially. Connor Chapman, maybe, and Wes Burns here with Leicester City in the Carabao Cup. We'll have full match commentary of that on BBC Radio Suffolk. Incidentally, this afternoon's game is also available on BBC Sounds. Angulo battling with O'Shea. The referee said play on. Sadiki's got the ball wide left. Across to right back goes Lukic. Sadiki inside the Ipswich town area. Gets the byline into the middle. It comes, but also into the stomach of Sherpin it comes.
Yeah, it was a decent attack. The Sunderland player out-wrestled Dara O'Shea, which surprised me somewhat. And from that position, they picked up the loose ball and were momentarily a threat. 12
players away at the World Cup. Sunderland, one of the most in the Premier League. Here is Ballard, one of those who didn't go the Northern Ireland International. Benign gives it to Meunier. Featured heavily for Belgium at the World Cup. The right back, who's back in possession over on the far side. Ipswich Town defending the end off to our left. O'Nien brings the ball down away from Enciso. Enciso, one of those in the Ipswich Town squad that went to the States as well. Played very well for Paraguay. Julio Enciso. Good running in midfield by Lefebvre. Puts it in behind for Angulo. Good play from Sunderland. No ball in from Angulo, looking towards Brobby. Dabbed away by Davis towards O'Shea, who passes it out of the area to Nunez. Lifted up to the right by Enciso. Here is Fatawu. He's played here in the past for Leicester on a few occasions, the town right wing. At that time he couldn't keep the ball in play. It's a Sunderland throw.
Well, Leif Davis has been asked to tidy up on 2 occasions, and he's done it really well so far. So that's great play for somebody who we normally see at the other end of the pitch and gets caught upfield on 2 occasions now. He's been a very, very needy defender.
Lefebvre gives the ball back to Ballard. Lefebvre played under Regis Lebris during his early career in Lorient in his native France. So 9 long towards Brobby. Brobby seemed to have beaten the offside trap and the offside flag, but the ball skipped on nicely to Sherpin on the edge of his area. And of course, just a reminder, as if we need reminding, we're back in the wonderful world of VAR this season in the English Premier League. We're still 0-0 if you're joining us 9.5 minutes in. 7 debutants for Ipswich Town. O'Shea, Greaves, Davis and Nunez, the only survivors from the Kieran McKenna era of last season. Gary O'Neill's been fairly animated in the home technical area down below us. Here is Lukic from deep. Then a switch ball to the far side of the diagonal to Maeda. Nice control by the Japanese. 1-on-1 with Meunier. Maeda gets to the byline. Meunier then plays the ball off of him. And Town still await their first corner kick.
Yeah, super crossfield ball. You know, that's the type of ball that teams really sort of relish, and they wait to actually deliver it. You know, they all gang up on one side of the pitch, and then the most dangerous player is the one on the far touchline. And if you can hit the big diagonal to that player, then you're in business.
Left-footed clearance from Roofs in all yellow towards the head of Diop. A goal scorer at the World Cup for Morocco, Issa Diop. Maeda, good interception on halfway, running forward. Tries the reverse pass to Emerson. It breaks back to Maeda. Now the big Brazilians on the ball. The number 19, Emerson, might fancy having a go. No, just blocked off by Lefebvre, who dropped back for Sunderland. They've got 9 pink shirts behind the ball now as the Blues of Ipswich have it with Lukic with his strapped up right wrist. Nunez with his heels on the far touchline is Davis. Back the ball goes to Marcelino Nunez. Of course, still yet to score here for Town. Nunez. All 3 of his goals have been away from home. Lukic picks out a good pass to Enciso. Little one up into the D, headed back by the tall Emerson. Cleared away by Sunderland. Nice touch from Lukic, who started this game well. Davis shapes to cross, feigns, hold on to it. Lukic wants the ball back with him. Here is again the Serbian midfielder. Greaves back towards Lukic. Davis once again, Town captain inside the Sunderland half, down the left-hand side. Maeda scoops the ball up to get it back to Davis. A chance for him to cross this time. Left-footed, in comes the delivery. Diving header away from Ballard. Chested down by Angulo. Angulo goes back towards his own area. Enciso could rob him, and he has done. Excellent play from Julio Enciso. Home crowd like that, and rightly so. Fatawu down the right-hand side. Wants to get away from a couple of players. Good play from Fatawu, then just kind of lost his balance. And with it the ball, and Angulo gives it to Sadiki. Sadiki plays it Off Fatawu, goal kick Sunderland, but nice stuff from Town.
Yeah, we saw the strengths of a couple of individual players there. And Ciso, he's a player that you don't take chances with. He's alive, he's alert. And if you try and be too clever on the ball, he'll take it off you, and that's what he did on that occasion. He gives it to Fatawu, and then we saw what he's really capable of. It's taking players on and getting to the byline.
12 and a half gone, 0-0 between Ipswich Town and Sunderland on the opening day of the Premier League season. Town trying to become the second newly promoted side to get 3 points opening weekend. Humbling defeat for Coventry at Arsenal last night, which would have been expected, but quite some scoreline in East Yorkshire at lunchtime. Hull City 2, Manchester United 0. Start that Hull fans probably didn't even dream of, but they pulled it off. So Ipswich Town a week tomorrow. We're trying to follow in the footsteps of the Tigers when we're at Old Trafford. It's maybe made that game a little bit tougher, but terrific start from Hull. 0-0 here. It's been a good game so far, very watchable. Sherpin on his debut on the halfway line has this free kick for Ipswich Town. He chips it up towards Roofs. Up goes Roofs, so too Greaves. Nudges him to the ground. Greaves apologetically speaks to the referee. Roofs is down, feeling a little bit winded. All he had to go for, nothing in that from Greaves.
No, absolutely nothing, but I think the referees have been told to watch any challenging of the goalkeeper this year, and they sometimes at the start of it, when they've been told to do something, they overdo it. That was silly, really. He didn't need to. The goalkeeper, if he had stayed on his feet, which he could have done, there was a perfect throw-out situation to the player who was in the wide right attacking position. Had he have stayed on his feet and thrown it to him, his team would have been in business.
There wasn't actually anything wrong with the challenge in the referee's defence. Just seen an action replay of that. Greaves did land on the back of his Achilles accidentally, but it will have been painful for Roofs. So I do have some sympathy for him, that he's still not quite right. That's not play acting. It would have been a painful one. But onwards we go in the 15th minute. We're still 0-0. Liverpool were held 0-0 here until about the 60th minute before Jota and then Salah took the game away from Ipswich 2 years ago. There's the throw-in from Hume. It was touched back to him by Siddiqui. Ballard helps it on its way to Roofs inside his area. Didn't really want to play any football for the next few minutes, I wouldn't have thought, Roofs, but he's had to clear it up to Angulo, who couldn't manage to keep the ball in down below us. It's going to be out for
it's amazing how sometimes players don't stay in touch with what's happened. Roofs has been hobbling about since that incident and really did not want a football played to him, and then the right back plays him one.
Sherpin with a diagonal to this near side, headed on well by O'Shea, who has to be said has played a fair bit in his career at right back. It's not like it's the first time he's ever played there. Played quite a bit for Republic of Ireland. Fatawu trying to rob Reinildo, and the ball is curled out of play and back in on this near side by Dara O'Shea. That'll be a throw right in front of Gary O'Neill. Of course, his last Premier League game involved Ipswich Town. It was a 2-1 defeat for his Wolves side at Molineux. That Jack Taylor winner late on, which we all absolutely loved. That was his final game in charge of Wolverhampton Wanderers. Took charge of Strasbourg in January, the 43-year-old. Led them to a European semi-final. Siddiqui, good strong running down the left channel for Sunderland. Pulls it back to Lefay, just outside the area, shapes to shoot. Ghosts away from Nunez, back to Angulo. Good play this from Sunderland, inside the Ipswich area, down the left channel. Well done by Fatawu, kept his eye on the ball, won it. And then just overly physical in the challenge on Angulo, says Mr. Halam. So it's a free kick to Sunderland, wide left outside the town box.
Yeah, I'm not sure about that.
Me neither.
He hasn't impressed me very much at all, Angulo, but the one that has impressed me is Siddiqui. Really, from being a central midfield player, he can run a ball like a wide attacking player.
He's a very, very good player. Siddiqui, a real find from Belgian football last summer. The third signing of last summer for Sunderland, but all energy and no small amount of quality as well. Xhaka and Lefay, two of Sunderland's best players last season, ominously on this free kick, wide left outside the sun-bathed Ipswich Town penalty area. 0-0 with 17 gone. Lefay steps over the ball. It will be the Swiss captain. In it bends. Poor delivery. Touched away by Nunez at as far as O'Nien. O'Nien puts it back into a dangerous area, but onto the forehead of Greaves. On the right-hand side, Hume is tangling with Maeda. Ball's gone up for a throw to... the flag's gone up, sorry, for a throw to Sunderland, looking towards the edge of the Ipswich Town penalty box.
Yeah, this is an important part of the game, really, because Sunderland have had one really good chance, but neither team looks as if they're really good in attack at the moment, so you don't want to make a mistake and gift them one.
Hume with this throw for Sunderland, and he hurls it to the Ipswich area off to our left-hand side. Good header away from Greaves. Touch back to the right-hand side, then knocked into the Ipswich area. It comes again. Jacob Greaves is behind the ball, nodded down by Enciso. Nunez lifts it away from his man O'Nien on the far side. Then another one, Meunier, shielded out of play by Xhaka. 7 years an Arsenal player, Granit Xhaka. More than 220 Premier League appearances in that time. Vastly experienced. Came from Bayer Leverkusen for 13 million last summer. Sunderland fans admittedly raised eyebrows and thought, what are we going to get from him? Well, we got a wonderful season's worth of service. And that played a massive part in them finishing 7th in the Premier League. Lefay back to the halfway line, and Reinildo to Siddiqui, who Mick Mills was just talking about on BBC Radio Suffolk. It's goalless as Siddiqui plays infield to Reinildo. Back out to this left-hand side near one of the many TV cameras. It's come off an Ipswich player. Angulo with a throw back to Siddiqui. Xhaka finds Ballard, started his career at Arsenal. Ballard looking towards Brobby. Greaves has done well yet again. And the ball is back with Sherpin. He's done well in general, Greaves, the last year, 18 months or so. Mick Mills, we had a little chat about him off air earlier on, didn't we? Yeah,
it's not been straightforward for him. He came and he looked good. He looked a good signing, but it was difficult for him in the Premier League the first time. But then he seemed to find it difficult to be a first choice in the Championship, which was a massive surprise. And I think when he went to left back on a couple of occasions and played really, really well, I think that gave him a bit of status in the club. And ironically, here we are back in the Premier League, first game, and he's a starter.
Still 0-0. Sunderland here this afternoon. Town go to Manchester United a week tomorrow. In terms of league games, that is. That's their next one. Liverpool here the following Friday. And then after that, into September, Town have a couple of away games. Back at Selhurst Park. Been there a few times down the years. Now, first ever visit to Hale Dickinson Stadium, home of Everton. Town, of course, one of the last teams to play men's football, senior men's football at Goodison Park. One of the first to go to the new stadium this season. Heard nothing but good things about it. Emerson has done well. First Brazilian to play for Ipswich Town. Now Fatawu tries to play the ball back in field for a striker. It's come off a Sunderland player and out for a throw-in.
Emerson's really sort of shown a lot of energy, a lot of desire. He's tall, he's a big lad, you know, and he's actually leading the line okay so far, you know, and the one, Fatawu, who we know is a decent player, he's having a difficult time at the moment. He needs to settle down.
Here is Sherpin, who hopefully settled down after a couple of heart-in-mouth moments early doors. Siddiqui with a head down towards Reinildo. Like a handball. Play continues. Maybe it was the hand of Fatawu. Siddiqui back with Enzo Lefay, who cost almost £20 million last summer after a loan. Lefay. Now it's Hume, very tight to that far touchline up against Maeda and Davis, trying to form a new partnership, as there are all over this pitch really. Roofs short to Xhaka, back to Roofs. That was risky from Sunderland's perspective because Emerson and Nunez weren't too far away. Here is Regis Lebris, the 50-year-old Frenchman in charge of Sunderland, gives the ball to Reinildo.
Sunderland are a solid side. They're obviously, you can see they've got that advantage over Town. They haven't had a year together. But at the moment it's a very tight game, and is it going to be a mistake that gets this game underway, or will it be good play by somebody?
Sunderland have the ball on the halfway line with O'Nien. to Siddiqui, forward to Lefay, then to Brobby inside the area. Good covering back from Leif Davis to deny Brobby for a second time in this game, and he needed to be alert yet again. He's done well defensively, Davis.
He's done really well. He's done on 3 occasions what we've really not seen him do since he's been here. He's never really been one that will cover across the back 4, like he has done today, but he has done it superbly, and on 3 occasions tidied up each time.
Sunderland, not with a particularly good record here, it has to be said. 1 win in their last 10 here in the league. That was January 2021. It's the 3rd time in a row they've met here in a different division, League One, then the Championship, now the Premier League. First Premier League meeting anyway between these two sides for a quarter of a century. There is Meunier giving the ball back to Xhaka. Now it's with Ballard. Both sides have come into this in fine fettle in terms of recent results for what they're worth. Town with 4 successive pre-season wins. Sunderland have won their last 3, having lost to Liverpool and Leeds in a mini-tournament in the States earlier on in the summer. Sunderland, whilst it doesn't count for anything really when play gets underway and competitive stuff starts. And Ciso robs the ball off for 9. This could be interesting, and Ciso's going to go alone. He's beaten Ballard inside the area. Emerson scores for Ipswich Town on his competitive and Premier League debut. The first Brazilian goal scorer in Ipswich Town's history, and just look at the smile on his face as he goes to give a giant hug to the man who made it. All the graft, all the endeavour, all the persistence from Julio Enciso, who laid it square for the big man, who could not miss. And Ipswich Town leads Sunderland in the Premier League by 1-0.
Well, I said it earlier, when you're playing against Enciso, the one thing you don't do when you're playing against him, take risks, take chances, because he will take the ball off you. And that's exactly what happened, very close to the halfway line. He took the ball off his opponent. It's his opponent's fault. It's a big mistake, but he went for it. As soon as he got possession of it, he went for that penalty area, and he got there. And as soon as he got there, it was very, very kind of him actually to play Emerson the ball for him just to roll it home. Well done, Enciso. Well done, Emerson. Well done, Town.
It wasn't the Enciso of a couple of years ago, because he'd have gone for glory when he was last here, but a different situation here as a permanent Ipswich Town player. He was very, very good to watch a couple of years ago. His talent was there, but he was a bit selfish as he maybe wanted to catch the eye of suitors. And also he was playing for a team whose relegation to the Premier League was looking more and more imminent. Totally different situation now. That was very selfless to pick out Emerson, as Emerson does well to nod it down to Enciso. It might be the only thing I get right all season, so I might as well highlight it. I did look at Ballard and O'Nien and wondered if Ipswich Town could get some joy from those two. That was a horrendous moment from O'Nien, but full credit from Enciso for making the most of it, and that is fantastic. That we will not be heading into later games this month or September or October wondering when the big man was going to score. He's done it on day 1. Massive weight off of his shoulders. Great to see, and great to see the celebrations as well, which understandably were very much focused on Enciso as well as Emerson. What an atmosphere inside Portman Road. Ipswich Town leads Sunderland 1-0. Nunez over this long-range free kick. He gets it from Greaves, then Nunez plays it in towards the far stick, and O'Shea knocks it across the face of goal. Maybe another chance for Emerson. It's not a back to the goalkeeper, Roots.
It's a wonderful crossfield ball. It found the target. Good header back in. Nice little opportunity. We've got to sort of take advantage of the goal that we've been gifted. We're in front now. Play with confidence.
Ball down the line to Angulo. Siddiqui rides the challenge of Lukic and goes for Taru. All these Town players with an extra spring in their step. So too their manager, Gary O'Neill, down below us. Town, if you weren't with us earlier on, BBC Radio Suffolk and BBC Sounds, with 7 debutants in the side. Here is Brobby, had a really good chance early on to make it 1-0 Sunderland. out to the right-hand side. Sunderland have it still with Meunier. Infield to Xhaka. In comes across from Lefay. Takes a deflection. Dealt with cleanly on his near post by Kjell Scherpen.
Well, that could be a very, very important goal. We know Sunderland had a fantastic season last year, but it was built very much on defence. They didn't score a lot of goals.
Emerson's done well to nod it down to Enciso. Signs of those two linking up. Enciso has the ball back from Maeda. Lukic, again, just hanging around in front of the back four. Nunez to the left-hand side. Davis. Back it goes to Marcelino Nunez. Square towards Sasha Lukic. Once again, here he is. Very popular player in his time at Craven Cottage. Lukic, Diop, teammate of his from those West London days, gives it to Fatawu. Low poor cross in. O'Nien touches it away. Looked like a mistake for Ryan Nildo initially. Then Angulo holds off Fatawu to help his colleague out. Xhaka, good switch of play, brought down nicely by Meunier on the far side, making ground. To midway inside the Ipswich Town half, Meunier still has the ball. Out to the right-hand side is found Trey Hume. Back now with Hume on the right corner. In comes his cross. Header from Siddiqui. Well saved by Scherpen. Siddiqui's never scored in English football. He was close there, but well done the big Dutchman.
Well, three beautiful bits of play there. The cross from Meunier was an excellent cross. Brilliant running from Siddiqui. Great sort of header. He's sort of gone low. He's headed it beautifully into a goal-scoring area, and the goalkeeper has done really well.
Yes, he has. That'll do his confidence the world of good. Ipswich Town leads Sunderland 1-0. 28.5 minutes gone at Portman Road. All eyes on the man over in the far left corner as we sit here. The corner kick's pulled back to Hume. There's a man down inside the box. Nothing given. It was Lefay. Out as far as O'Nien tries to atone for his error that helped Ipswich Town score the first goal, was shooting from distance. The ball pings back to Roofs. Roofs belts it into the Ipswich area, headed by Davis. Ballard's going to try and shield it out of play for a corner kick under pressure from Nunez. He's managed it. The third corner for Sunderland.
Yeah, I think teams are so obsessed with getting so many players in the penalty area and doing a defensive job that they so often forget about dealing with a short corner. And on that occasion, we didn't have a blue shirt anywhere near it. It came to nothing, but it's a threat.
Another corner kick to Sunderland, trying to draw level in the final 15 minutes of this first half. Plenty pink shirts forward for them. Into the near post, flicked on. It's not gone in, though. It's away from goal. Could easily have done. And Enciso's back at right back against Siddiqui, who's hoped to have played off the Paraguayan. He did very well, Siddiqui.
Yes, he did.
It was exceptional. Siddiqui to Lefay. Back to O'Nien, number 13 on his back. It's certainly been unlucky for him. Lovely little Cruyff turn from Lefay. Want to take on Fatawu again. Not for the first time. Fatawu's kept his eye on the ball. Taken away from Lefay. Ball forward from Fatawu, looking for Emerson, the goal scorer. Between Meunier and Roofs, they sort things out at the back for the Black Cats. Maeda robs Xhaka, but illegally, says Mr. Halam. And it's going to be a free kick on the far side to Sunderland. His first game for officiating Ipswich Town last season was the 5-0 win over Sheffield United at Farai Halam. Did a couple later on in the campaign. He's been a good omen again today. Maeda working hard on halfway. Big part of his game. Gets the ball to Emerson. Oh, Emerson takes on two players and beats them. Brilliant from him. Edge of the area. Ball in towards Enciso. Trying to repay the favour of a few moments ago. Enciso got underneath the ball on the near corner of the Sunderland 6-yard box and scooped it up high into the Sir Alf Ramsey stand. But that was excellent from the goal scorer.
Well, they've linked well again, Emerson and Enciso. That's really good play. That's what you want from your 9 and 10. A little bit like Kane and Bellingham in the World Cup finals. They linked lovely and got their reward.
Enciso's only been back in Suffolk for 5 days as far as we know.
But he's been here before. He knows what it's all about.
Here is Siddiqui. Goes back to Roofs. He and Ouattara were straight into training on Monday when the rivals were confirmed. Ouattara on the bench, incidentally. Actually, he's the only potential debut from the bench this afternoon. There's no Florentino for Ipswich Town. Actually, a lot of Ipswich Town's fringe players walked along the touchline below us, the likes of Alex Palmer, Chiawog Benny, Anis Mehmeti. I do wonder what the future has in store for some of those players, particularly with Mark Ashton making no bones about the fact that Town are still looking to be active before the window closes. 1-0 Ipswich leads Sunderland, live on BBC Radio Suffolk. 13 minutes of the first half to go. Here come Sunderland. Angulo bends the ball towards the far post towards Brobby. Has too much on it though for Brobby, who's not the tallest, but very stocky, very muscly. A real handful for centre-halves, but so far only really one good sight of goal, the Sunderland number 9's. Had he got 7 goals in the Premier League last season, their top scorer. The biggest one from his and the fans' perspective was the winner at St James's Park. Now Sherpen plays the ball straight out of play. Generously, Darragh O'Shea gives him the thumbs up. Reinildo with a throw-in back towards O'Nien, just enjoying the goal celebrations. Again on the little TV screens in front of us as the director then cut to a shot of a crestfallen Luke O'Nien. Now roofs outside of his area, a little drag back to get away from Nunez. That was ultra risky from the Sunderland keeper.
Yeah, he could have easily taken the ball off him there, you know. So Nunez, he's quite good. He's a little bit like Enciso, where he can take advantage of a little bit of, clever play, if you like, and irresponsible play.
So far, so good for Ipswich Town on the opening day of the 26-27 Premier League season. They've already done what Coventry didn't manage last night, albeit Coventry were up against the champions Arsenal. That is score a goal, and now trying to follow in the footsteps of Hull by securing all 3 points, as O'Shea was closed down by Angulo. And again, just a reminder, not only are we on BBC Radio Suffolk this afternoon, we're also on BBC Sounds, as Matt Holland, smiling, pops up on the TV screen in front of us in the director's box. As now it's with Diop finding Kjell Sherpen on the edge of the D, off to our left-hand side. Left-footed, he puts it up towards Darragh O'Shea. He heads it on away from Angulo. Emerson trying to cause problems for Ballard. No nonsense challenge from Ballard. O'Nien finds Xhaka. Well done, Maeda winning the ball. Excellent terrier-like work from him. Fatawu back to O'Shea. Nunez finds Lukic. Then he pokes it square to Greaves, quite rightly applauded by the home crowd. As Jacob Greaves puts it into midfield to Lukic, helps it on beyond Siddiqui, and Enciso trying to wriggle himself away from Ballard. The referee says play on. He's having his shirt tugged, but he's still got the ball. Excellent from Enciso. It's having a really good return to Suffolk. Now Fatawu inside the Sunderland area. In comes his left-footed ball, headed down by O'Nien to Xhaka. Xhaka looked one way, played the ball the other, finds Siddiqui. And now it's with Meunier, ball down the line to Lefebvre, the number 28.
Some great play again from Enciso, and he managed to get the ball out to Fatawu, who got his very best chance of a 1v1 against the defender near the penalty area, and he decided to cross it. A bad decision.
That's been excellent, Enciso. Here comes O'Nien for Sunderland, charging down the left-hand side of the Ipswich Town area. Might have run out of gas. Yes, he hasn't even managed to win a corner kick. He's had a play for a goal kick to Kjell Sherpen. Yellow card for Dan Ballard. Belatedly, the referee kept that in his head and remembered the shirt pulling, the blatant one on Enciso that he played a good advantage for a minute or so ago.
Yeah, I'm still looking at Fatawu, and I can't believe the only person in the stadium he delighted by making that decision was Mandava, the left back for Sunderland. He thought he was on, he was really vulnerable to him being taken on inside the penalty area, and Fatawu just crossed the ball.
Lovely weather this afternoon, as it always tends to be on the opening day of the season. You really picture sunshine wherever we've been, in whatever division we've been in. On the opening day, and the scoreline also makes us smile, because Ipswich Town, thanks to Emerson's goal made by Enciso, lead this game by 1-0. Davis loses the ball, headed away by Nunez as the cross came in from Trey Hume. It was Meunier picks it up and throws it back. Sunderland have it with O'Nien. Probably will make way for Alderete when he's fully fresh and available. Omar Alderete. They tended to go with Ballard and Alderete last season, Sunderland, as their two towers at the back. Alderete not quite up to pace after featuring alongside Enciso for Paraguay at the World Cup. Here is Xhaka to Angulo. Oh, lovely spin from Angulo, taken out by Dara O'Shea. The referee's played on. Good advantage. We'll want a word with O'Shea afterwards. Siddiqui, brilliant from Siddiqui into the area. Left channel, left-footed pull back. It's going to reach a Sunderland player. Finally, Meunier on his debut. Good block by Maeda. Excellent from the Japanese getting back. Sunderland still building. Here is Xhaka. Remember, O'Shea didn't get a single yellow card last season. I wonder if he's about to get one on day one this time around. Xhaka to the left and Angulo. Xhaka's caught by Diop. Free kick now. Play will halt. And it'll be a Sunderland free kick in a good shooting position centrally outside the Ipswich area.
Yeah, very good position. A little bit over-eager, Diop there, you know, and he's was straight away in there apologising. He knew that he might be in trouble from the referee, so an apology was the right thing to do. You know, you can just sway a referee a little bit if you do that. So, but it's an expensive free kick, really. You know, it's given Sunderland a chance to do what they haven't done very much, and that's hit the target.
No punishment for Dara O'Shea by the looks of things from Mr. Hallam. He's sorting out his spray painting along the toes of 4 Ipswich Town players at the moment. Tall wall aside from Enciso, Lukic, Emerson, Greaves, and the wall alongside the Paraguayan. We have 6.5 minutes of this first half to go at Portman Road. Town lead Sunderland 1-0. The Black Cats, though, have a free kick within shooting range, which Granit Xhaka looks to fancy. Angulo is also there. Angulo hits it. Oh, it's a great goal. A sensational strike by the Ecuadorian to make it 1-1. Sherp and all 6'9" of them couldn't do anything about it. Hit the underside of the bar, bounced down, ended up in the roof of the net, and it's 1-1 with 6 minutes of the first half to go.
Well, I'll have to tell you what was going through my mind when they were actually 2 players over the ball, Angulo and Xhaka. I knew Xhaka wouldn't take it because it was on his wrong side, and I'm thinking, I hope Angulo takes it because he hasn't looked a very good player today. I've been a bit critical of him, but obviously at this level they all have strengths. His strengths must be striking a dead ball, because that was a very, very good free kick, but I was totally surprised to see it go in.
His first goal in English football for the Ecuadorian. He came from Anderlecht in February. They've recruited a fair number of players, whatever they are nationality-wise, from Belgian football. Cost 17.5 million. He's repaid a little bit of that fee there with an excellent strike, the number 10. So it is 1-1 as Enciso gives the ball back to Sherpen. Sherpen right-footed, straight down the field, volleyed away by Ballard. Diop up on tiptoes wins that header, live on BBC Radio Suffolk and BBC Sounds. Emerson and Angulo. Siddiqui wins it on halfway, runs into Fatawu. Another good advantage played by the referee. Sunderland have it on the left-hand side with Reinildo. Left corner of the Ipswich area. His cross deflects off O'Shea. All 4 of these first-half corners have gone the way of Sunderland.
Yeah, they obviously, like all teams, you get sort of little things pick you up, and I think that equalising goal has picked Sunderland up, and you know, they've now forced another corner out of town, but I can't help thinking, but he's the big threat, Siddiqui. I mean, he plays from the centre of midfield and he can run a ball like a winger. He's popping up all over the place, all down the left-hand side, so be it, but he's everywhere.
Surprised he's still there at this stage of the window, because I heard nothing but good things about all of last season, how incredible this lad was for Sunderland. He's having a good game. All the noise coming from the Sunderland boys and girls. Their sides equalise. Xhaka bends this ball beyond the far post, way beyond the far post. And Enciso picks it up in the left back berth, carries it forward 20-30 yards, then dinks it up towards Emerson. We'll have to hold the ball up. He's trying to out-battle O'Nien, which he was going to do. Angulo just got it back to the goalkeeper, despite the best efforts of Maeda in behind to embarrass him. Roofs controls it, then drills the ball out to the far side. Took a bit of a risk, and we're very close to Emerson.
I must admit, I was very impressed with the referee there. That was a real sort of shoulder charge from Emerson. It nearly knocked the poor guy off his feet, and he didn't do anything, the referee.
I've liked him whenever I've seen him. I hope I'm not tempting fate. I said that early on. He really impressed me. Possibly last season was the first time I'd seen him for Halam. I didn't know the name at all, but he's done well. Well done, Nunez. Lukic trying to put Fatawu through, and he wasn't far away from doing that. Ronaldo just got his feet sorted out after making the initial block. Good spot from Lukic. Fatawu would have been in on goal had he not been in the way, Ronaldo. Unlike the opposing left-back, Leif Davis, in the right place at the right time there. Here is O'Shea up against Angulo. Right struggle, almost lost it. Cross comes Diop against Brobby. Good heavyweight battle. Diop just gets to the ball to play it off the shin pads of Brobby.
No, he did well, Diop, there. You know, that he was all. If he didn't sort of perform that, you know, where he's trying to get the ball off of the shins of the opponent, then he'd have been in trouble. But he managed to bounce the ball off of Brobby's shins and get himself a throw-in.
Town have never beaten Sunderland in 3 successive league games. That's what they're hoping to do here this afternoon, having doubled them during their promotion season of a couple of years ago, Ipswich. Well won by Emerson. Nunez gives it to Davis. Davis has Enciso in front of him, the danger man. Enciso inside the Sunderland area. Tries to dink it across, come off a pink shirt of a Sunderland defender. Enciso has it back, shimmies to the right. Fatawu intercepted by Angulo. Up towards Brobby. Good sliding challenge from Breves. Breaks to Siddiqui. And it's with Sunderland in the middle third. Xhaka, who looks around about him, distributes the ball to Ronaldo. Back it now goes to Granit Xhaka, walking with the ball up to the halfway line. Final 90 seconds of this first half. And a good first half to watch, opening day of the Premier League season. Hull beating Man United at lunchtime. Deservedly so, based on what I watched of most of that game. They'd had other chances before they took the lead. Hull. And Ipswich took the lead here through Emerson, but Angulo's excellent free kick has made it even Stevens approaching half-time. Ballard on a yellow card gives it to Meunier. Back it goes to Ballard. Here is Unai, his central defensive partner, just behind him. Once again, Unai has it as the Ipswich Town fans try to react. Obviously, the Sunderland supporters found their voice after the equaliser. In terms of noise from the crowd, they got on top a little bit, but the Ipswich Town supporters are reacting well. There is, of course, the safe standing area in the north stand, off to our left-hand side. Ball over the top for Brobby to chase. Sherpin's come out, uses his right boot and fires it up towards the numerous blue shirts high in the cobbled stand opposite. It's an offside's been given, though, which Jacob Greaves will take the free kick from. Really good free kick from Angulo. Just seen a replay of that. Long ball forward from Town, headed down by Ballard, miscontrolled by Nunez, given away by Sunderland. Diop on the centre spot, slides the ball up towards Enciso, really enjoying himself on his return to English football. 2 minutes of the first half to go, that's added on time. The ball's just gone up. Here is Siddiqui, a real four lungs player, as Joe Royle might have described Noah Siddiqui. Endless energy. Now it's back with O'Nien. How relieved will he be to equalise? Excellent play again from Siddiqui. Took Nunez to the cleaners. Nunez followed through with a trip. Free kick to Sunderland.
Yeah, great skill to get himself out of a difficult situation into an attacking position, but obviously he came in there and took his feet from Nunez, took his feet from him, but he's a clever player and difficult to play against.
Roofs with this free kick for Sunderland. On watch is Gary O'Neill, about to give his first competitive half-time team talk as Ipswich Town boss. A fair few positives to reflect upon, and no doubt a few things he'll want to tweak and sort out, just make his team aware of. In goes O'Shea, didn't take any prisoners, getting there ahead of Angulo. Now O'Nien gets the ball back from Granit Xhaka. Ballard peeled off to the right-hand side for Sunderland. Final 40 seconds of this first half. Emerson was right on top of Ballard. Good running from the Brazilian. Of course, it's an area which Ipswich Town still desperately need to invest in terms of a another striker up there alongside or to cover for Emerson. Here is Meunier for Sunderland. Meunier, edge of the Ipswich area, goes square to Siddiqui. Siddiqui might pull the trigger, still has it inside the box, held it up against two blue shirts, gives it to Angulo. Sunderland trying to take the lead for the first time. Ronaldo with a cross towards the far stick. Up went Hume, didn't make any contact, and it's Jacob Greaves who does the right thing at this stage of proceedings, just get the ball downfield. And if we have to go in 1-1, then so be it. And that is indeed the case. Even Stevens in this first 45 minutes of the new Premier League season here at Portman Road on BBC Radio Suffolk and BBC Sounds. Town took the lead, but Sunderland pegged them back. It's 1-1 that has.
Yeah, and by the eye, it is a very, very close game. And when I managed to just have a quick look at the stats, and there, apart from possession is very much in Sunderland's favour. Corner kicks, funny enough, are in Sunderland's favour because we haven't had a corner, they've had 4. So they're winning 2 little things, but everything else is very, very close. The amount of shots are very close, the shots on target are close. We've both got a goal apiece. The touches in the opposition box is just about favouring Sunderland, but it's very, very close. And that's really where we are. There was a lot of energy early on in the game. Once it sort of started to develop, you just felt that it might be a mistake that sort of opens the scoring today, and that's what we had, a big mistake by Sunderland on the halfway line, taking too many risks when you've got a player like Enciso around. He took care of the ball, he drove into the penalty area, gave Emerson a beautiful opportunity to open his account for the Town. 1-0, and then they've come back with the goal, a super goal from a needless free kick from Diop, might I say, but it was a super strike from the free kick. But just looking at the teams, I think that we must have, we're a little bit new in defence, and the fact that Leif Davis has sort of come across from the left back position on 3 occasions and sort of got us out of trouble tells me that things are not quite right at the back. In midfield, we had a good early period from Lukic and Nunes, but they did start to lose that battle in that area. Enciso and Emerson very, very good. Maeda, okay. Fatawu, who we know is a good player, needs just to sort himself out. He's not really making the right decisions. But as far as Sunderland are concerned, I think they're weak. Funny enough, they had a terrific time last year, built on defence, but they look, to me, fairly weak in the back line. The centre of midfield is a strange one. You've got Siddiqui playing in there, one of 2, with Xhaka the other one. He goes marauding off. He's brilliant at doing it, but every time he vacates that area, he is leaving Xhaka, who's not the most energetic and young person, to sort of be on his own in there. So that gives people like Enciso chance to exploit the room that's in there. Robbie, I think, looks a threat. He hasn't actually done anything. He hasn't scored yet, obviously, but he looks a threat. So I'm looking at Sunderland. I don't see a 7th place team when I'm viewing them. That's good for us. We can improve without question. Some pluses for us without question. Enciso and Emerson. Very good individually, very, very good as a pair. So let's have more of that. I'd like to see Dara O'Shea chalking Fatawu through the game a little bit more. Talking through. He's a talented boy. Just coax him. He needs help. He needs talking to. If you can do that, we'll have a threat down the right-hand side as well. So not bad. Okay, 1-1. We're still there, and we did take the lead, so we were momentarily in charge of 3 points. Not bad.
Thanks for that, Mick. Graham, I've got no idea what 1-1 means in terms of walkie. I'm confused. where do we go with that for a scoreline?
Well, hopefully Town can get another goal, but if it stays, we'll have to ask him next week, won't we? See what he says. If you missed John Walk on the matchday preview last night, and we were talking about this ahead of kickoff on BBC Radio Suffolk, he suggested that Town's survival chances are all on today. Lose today, that's it in his eyes. Not a bit of it. 37 games to go, of course. after this one. It was an outrageous comment, which you can listen back to via BBC Sounds. Get his thoughts in full. Elsewhere in the Premier League today, Hull City have beaten Manchester United by 2-0. Get reaction to that one later in the programme. Everton are ahead 1-0 at home to Crystal Palace. Keenan Dewsbury Hall with the goal. Pierce Sage's first competitive fixture in charge of Palace. It's Oliver Glasner, the former Palace boss's first competitive fixture in charge of Nottingham Forest. They're goalless with Leeds. The 5:30 kick-off in the Premier League sees Tottenham away at Brentford. Just a couple of note from the Championship results from earlier today. Birmingham City 2, Bristol City 2. Lincoln beaten 3-1 at home by Portsmouth. Norwich beaten 3-0 away at Millwall. In the 3 o'clock kick-offs, a couple of standouts. Wolves 1-up at Preston. West Ham trailing 1-0 at home to Charlton this afternoon. On the non-league front, we're at Needham Market this afternoon. We've got a few Suffolk sides in FA Cup action as well. I'll run you through some scores in just a moment. Also, during our half-time break, we're going to hear from an Ipswich Town fan hosting a watch-along of today's game in Nashville.
When they're away at uni and the show you all love is on telly. When you're miles apart but still laughing at the same joke. When the emojis come thick and fast.
Triple smiley face and a heart.
I knew they'd love that.
Nothing brings us together like great TV. Make sure your child has a TV licence when they go to uni so they're covered to watch all TV channels and BBC iPlayer. And you'll still enjoy all those TV moments in the family group chat. Search TV licence students.
It's Ipswich Town 1, Sunderland 1 in the Premier League. Full second half commentary on the way on BBC Radio Suffolk and on BBC Sounds this afternoon as well. On the non-league front, Bury Town, great start to the season, 3 wins out of 3, and they're 2-up at home to Leamington in the Southern Premier League Central Division this afternoon. Leiston trailing 2-1 at Sturbridge. Needham Market, Nick Garnham also behind at the break.
Yes, it's Needham Market 0, Halesowen Town 1. And it's the visitors who lead at the interval through Jason Cowley's 29th minute spot kick. It was Needham who had the first meaningful effort on goal, Luke Ingram's half volley going straight at keeper Dan Platt after Ryan Miles had headed Ollie Saunders' through ball into his path. Halesowen passed up a gilt-edged opportunity midway through the half when Callum Ebanks side-footed wide from close range at the far post after he was found by Ben Cassidy's cross from the left. However, the visitors took the lead 6 minutes later when Cowley sent James Bradbrook the wrong way from the spot after Dan Morphew had upended Dan Meredith inside the penalty box. The Market men created their best chance of the half when a good move down the left ended with Ollie Saunders being set free inside the box, but his shot went wide of the far post. Needham will need to improve in the second period if they are to get back into this match. As at half-time at Bloomfield, it's Needham Market 0, Halesowen Town 1.
Thank you, Nick. I'll run you through some later scores in the FA Cup preliminary round today involving local teams. Cambridge City 1, AFC Sudbury 1. George Chenery levelling for Sudbury. Newmarket Town 0, St Neots Town 0. Mildenhall trailing 1-0 at Galston. Brantham Athletic 1-0 up at home to Halstead. Ipswich Wanderers 2 goals to the good at home to Marchtown United. And it's Histon 1, Cornard 3. Let's hear now from an Ipswich Town fan living more than 4,000 miles from Portman Road in Tennessee, who's been on a mission to bring Blues supporters together in his hometown of Nashville. Mark Addison is currently hosting a watch-along of this afternoon's game against Sunderland for fellow Town fans. Also known as Nashville Tractor Boy, he told Wayne Bavin on our breakfast programme this week how he came to be a Blues supporter.
Well, it's a simple story, really. In August of 2004, our family was on holiday in Orlando, and we met a lovely family from Ipswich at the pool at our hotel. And a few days later, all of us were watching Hurricane Charlie come straight for us, and the family from Ipswich had nowhere to go, so we decided that we would ride out this hurricane together at the hotel, and that started a great relationship with David, Marlene, Kirsty, and Kyle Jackman. That's only grown stronger over the last 22 years. And part of that relationship was learning about Ipswich Town, the football club, and becoming a supporter.
You have seen Town play before, though, haven't you, in this country?
Actually, yes. I've been fortunate to see a couple of matches in England, and the only time that I've been able to see Town play was during the Prem season in 24-25. We went to Selhurst Park actually with the Jackman family and watched them play Crystal Palace. Of course, we had to sit on our hands a bit, but luckily we were right next to the away end, so it was a great experience. Unfortunately, couldn't pull it out on that one, but really looking forward to trying to get to Portman Road to see a match at home. That's on my bucket list.
What league were Ipswich Town in then when you first started following them?
Gosh, I mean, I can't even recall, but I will say, admittedly, the last 5 years have been a lot more fun to watch than the first 15 that I was keeping up with them, the double promotion and being in the Prem. So just much more of an avid fan in the last 5 years than I have been for the whole 22.
Wow, 22 years following Ipswich Town. Have you actually found many other Ipswich fans then across the US?
Well, I'm not really looking across the U.S. I'm just looking here in Nashville, and it really all started with 2 years ago when it was fun and exciting to finally be up in the Premier League. I'm watching matches with my mates who are supporters of other Prem clubs, and this year I just said, hey, I really want to try and watch some matches with Ipswich fans. So that's what I'm on a mission to do, is to find those fans here in Nashville and find a place for us to call our own and really just have a lot of fun this season.
Nashville Town Supporters Club. How many members do you have?
Well, I've only been doing this effort for about 2 weeks. I've only had 3 supporters actually reach out to me, but this Saturday we will have our first watch party at Fog Street Lawn Club, and I'm hoping a lot of people just show up there. I don't know if you saw, but Premier League in the USA is actually having a watch party for all of the Premier League teams, and they've chosen Nashville, Tennessee to be the spot for the Sunderland watch party, and it's my hope that we show up with more Ipswich supporters than Sunderland do.
Fabulous. Listen, the kick-off times for these watch parties must be crazy. It must be early hours of the morning.
Yeah. Well, I'll be honest with you. When we're in the championship, it's much earlier. So it's much more manageable now. It's a 9 a.m. kickoff for this Saturday, which is quite doable.
Well, come on, up of the town. In your heart of hearts, Mark, what's your gut telling you about this season at Ipswich Town? Do you think we'll stay in the Prem?
Yeah. Well, nobody's giving any of the newly promoted teams any chance to stay up. I honestly think we're staying up. I'm going to put us at 16th this year.
It's Mark Addison, also known as Nashville Tractor Boy, speaking to Wayne Baven during the week. You can see what he looks like online. There's an article about him at BBC Suffolk. Hope that watch-along is going well. The football isn't bad. The second half is on the way from Portman Road.
Premier League football returns to Portman Road, and it's live on BBC Radio Suffolk. Play underway. There is Shaka to Hume, through to Brobby. Brobby might have a chance to get goal side of Leif Davis. Here's what a chance for Sunderland. Early doors. Brobby! Great recovery from Leif Davis, who quite rightly celebrates as if he scored a goal, but what a chance that was for Sunderland. Here's O'Shea for Ipswich Town. The captain knocks a ball and headed towards goal by Emerson. Palm by Roofs to his right-hand side. It was a long-range header, if you like, all of 18 yards. Roofs eventually got it under control. Forward to Lefay, then to Brobby inside the area. Good covering back from Leif Davis to deny Brobby for a second time in this game. And he needed to be alert yet again. He's done well defensively, Davis. And Ciso robs the ball off a 9. This could be interesting. Ciso's going to go alone. He's beaten Ballard inside the area. Emerson scores for Ipswich Town on his competitive and Premier League debut. The first Brazilian goal scorer in Ipswich Town's history. And just look at the smile on his face as he goes to give a giant hug to the man who made it. All the graft, all the endeavour, all the persistence from Julio and Ciso, who laid it square for the big man, who could not miss. And Ipswich Town leads Sunderland in the Premier League by 1-0. Back now with Hume on the right corner. In comes his cross. Header from Siddiqui. Well saved by Sherpen. Sadiki's never scored in English football. He was close there, but well done, the big Dutchman. Emerson takes on 2 players and beats them. Brilliant from him, edge of the area, ball in towards Enciso, trying to repay the favour of a few moments ago. Enciso got underneath the ball on the near corner of the Sunderland 6-yard box and scooped it up high into the Sir Alf Ramsey stand, but that was excellent from the goal scorer. Town lead Sunderland 1-0. The Black Cats, though, have a free kick within shooting range, which Granit Xhaka looks to fancy. Angulo is also there. Angulo hits it! Oh, it's a great goal! A sensational strike by the Ecuadorian to make it 1-1. Sherp and all 6'9" of them couldn't do anything about it. Hit the underside of the bar, bounced down, ended up in the roof of the net. And it's 1-1 with 6 minutes of the first half to go.
Looking for your next true crime podcast?
I know they call you the Black Widow. They said, how do you plead? And I said, not guilty.
I'm Livy Haydock, and I present Gangster, uncovering the real-life stories behind Britain's gang bosses, criminal kingpins, and the people caught in their world.
It was like the Posh and Becks, wasn't it, of armed robbery?
Real people.
She's committed such awful crimes.
Real places and real stories.
I don't think he knew it was Brinksmack Gold himself.
This is Gangster. Listen first on BBC Sounds.
Just gone 4 o'clock on BBC Radio Suffolk and BBC Sounds. Be good to get your thoughts post-match. Let's rejoin Mick Mills and Brenna Woolley for the second half. Town 1, Sunderland 1.
Play about to get underway. Town in blue, white, blue up against the all pink of Sunderland. Town have Sherpen in goal, a back four of O'Shea, Diop, Greaves and Davis. Lukic alongside Nunez in midfield, and a three of Fatawu and Ciso and Maeda, and the goal scorer Emerson up top. On the bench, Walton, Furlong, Kipre, Ouattara, Humphreys, McAteer, Eggley, Clark and Akpom. Roosters in the goal off to our left. Sunderland's back for Meunier, Ballard on a yellow, O'Nien and Reinildo. Then you've got Xhaka the captain alongside the exceptional Sadiki. Then it's Hume, Lefay and Angulo who got their goal. Brobby up top. On the bench, Elborg, Talby, Rigg, Mundell, Alderete, Isidore Diarra, Mukiel and Jocelyn, the referee in all black, just doing final checks for Halam. Ipswich Town kicking off and playing in their favoured second half direction towards the north stand off to our left. It's Enciso who plays a bit of keep ball with Lukic. Enciso excellent in that first half. Here is Leif Davis, who did some really good defensive work at various stages, not least of all denying Brobby when it was 0-0. Diop, new partnership alongside Jacob Greaves, gets the ball back to Sherpen. Had a couple of wobbly moments, really rather dilly-dallied on the ball early doors, but been fine since then. Doesn't look to be a lot he could have done about the goal. Fatawu wriggling away from Angulo, playing it up to Emerson, little layoff towards Maeda. In steps Meunier. It's better from Fatawu. Here is Sadiki. Underneath the adoring Sunderland supporters. The ball goes back to the halfway line, and Reinildo. Gary Neal clapping his hands, a bit more animated than Régis Lebris, just to his left-hand side. Ball down the line from Reinildo to Angulo. Angulo infield to Lefay. Sunderland with pretty much 2/3 of the possession in that first half. 8 shots on goal compared to Ipswich Town's 5, both having 2 shots on target. There is Sadiki. Rolls it to Angulo, trying to touch it forward first time to Lefay, who maybe got an accidental tap in the face from Diop. Diop's ball's wayward, gave O'Shea nothing to work with. And Sunderland have a throw in an attacking area.
Yeah, just a very sort of cagey little start really. Sunderland sort of dominating the ball, Town being sort of pushed back but not in any real sort of trouble.
Throw to Sunderland, Luke O'Nien being applauded as he goes across to the Sunderland supporters. Has been a wonderful servant to the club for numerous seasons now. O'Nien steps forward, short run up on the far side, in comes his throw and headed away by Diop. Fatawu goes after this, goes down under a challenge from O'Nien. The referee says play on. O'Nien with a quick throw. Lefay knocks it back into a dangerous area. Well, that was the hope and intention. It was a miscue, flew beyond the far post goal kick.
Yeah, to be honest, it's a good ball in as much that he's got the right amount of pace on it, but he's just kept it in the air too long and it's gone harmlessly through for a goal kick on the far side. Sometimes those crosses with pace are the ideal thing, but they've got to finish just in and around the 6-yard box.
Diop gets the ball at right back from his keeper, then back to him from O'Shea. The last 4 Premiership or top flight meetings between these two sides have been 2 wins apiece. As the flag goes up against Sunderland, free kick which Issa Diop is likely to take. Down with just 13 wins in the last 76 games in the Premier League across those 2 relegation seasons. Of course, just the 4 last time around under Kieran McKenna. Maeda infield to Emerson. Lukic caught napping by Lefay. Emerson's done well to win the ball back to Davis. Off of Lefay it goes for a through that Marcelino Nunez takes quickly and finds Jacob Greaves. And now Sherpen on the edge of his penalty area, right-footed, fires the ball to the far side, headed away by Reinildo up against Fatawu. In goes O'Nien. O'Nien gets the ball back towards his goalkeeper Roofs. Plants the ball deep into the Ipswich Town half of the field, but it's all the way to his opposite number, Sherpen. Still talk that the other Dutch goalkeeper that arrived in the summer, Kane van Overlen's likely to go out on loan, possibly next week. Perhaps he's been heavily linked with Valencia, the younger of the 2 goalkeepers. Van Overlen, he's just 23. Sherpen's 26. Emerson finding Enciso in the centre circle, out to the right hand side for Tawu, one-on-one with Reinildo, edge of the Sunderland box, gets into the area, into the middle, it comes, Maeda's underneath it. It was a chance at an open goal really, couldn't head it into the net though. Real opportunity from Maeda. Nunez with a disguised ball looking for Maeda, and he nipped in behind Meunier and has won a throw-in for Ipswich Town.
Well, that was better from Fatawu. You know, he took the opportunity of the 1v1 and he almost created a second goal for Town.
Greaves to Diop, yeah, easily the best chance of the second half so far, which is almost 5 minutes old. Enciso, again quite deep in midfield. To Greaves. Greaves slides a ball along the grass to Leif Davis. Lukic. It's nice actually seeing some green grass in the county this afternoon. Here is Diop lining up a ball into the area. Instead he's gone to the right hand side for Tawu again. Left-footed cross from him, flicked on by Enciso! Just beyond the far post. What an improvised goal that would have been.
Yeah, I'm not sure whether he was trying to get it on target or for hoping somebody might just finish it off in the 6-yard box, but well worth. Good cross in. It's found a blue-shirted player. It's got lots of pace on it. It's a little touch, yes, I think he's tried to turn it in.
He was.
And it was a good effort.
Yeah, he's got the ability and the confidence, and he wasn't far away. What a first goal for the club. On his return anyway, that would have been. Got 2 the last time around. Got a great goal against Everton at Goodison. Important one against Chelsea as well at Stamford Bridge. He wasn't too far away there from opening his 26-27 account. He's already got an assist to his name, and a very good one it was too in the first half. Emerson gave Town the lead. That was Angulo who equalised for Sunderland, if you weren't with us. 6 minutes gone in the second half, live on BBC Radio Suffolk, and this afternoon BBC Sounds. Enciso again doing more work deeper in midfield. Oh, great little ball through the gap to Lukic, back to Enciso, really enjoying himself, but on this occasion just bitten off a bit too much. Hume gives it to Lefay. Good sliding block challenge from Greaves. Out goes the ball. It was so good to watch Julio Enciso.
He just overdid it on that occasion, but you've got to go with him. You know, if he's going to take the odd risk or two, you have to say well done. You know, that's what your position's all about.
Look, O'Nien at the back for Sunderland. Last season equalled their best top flight finish for 25 years, finishing 7th that year. That Ipswich Town qualified for Europe 2001 as O'Shea loses that to Angulo. Now Siddiqui, ball through looking for Brobby. Good header away by Greaves. Sunderland win it back from Hume. Now a chance for the little pullback from Reinildo. Brobby back to goal, turns, great block by Nunez. A chance for Meunier on his debut. Now Hume square into the Ipswich area, again away from Nunez. Really good defending from the Chilean on more than one occasion, particularly the first block. Surely prevented Sunderland from going ahead.
Yeah, very much so. They've really sort of
Sunderland on this right hand side with Meunier gives it back to O'Nien. So Xhaka a bit short. Xhaka just nipped in there ahead of Emerson, and he gives the ball back to O'Nien. Very much plays the game at his own pace, Xhaka. Sign of a good player. Now Angulo, one-on-one with O'Shea. Fatawu comes back to help out. Those two were having a good chat as they came all back onto the field, or at least O'Shea was with Fatawu. Fatawu down the far touchline to Enciso. On that right, skipping away from the first man nonchalantly with absolute ease. Then a second inside the area. Enciso with a cross towards Emerson. Emerson heads it back across the face of goal. Surely Enciso's going to make it 2-1 Ipswich. No, he's not. He should have done on first inspection. Gary O'Neill's head is in his hands.
Well, I think the linesman's flag is up, and I think that was what was worrying Enciso, was the fact that was he coming back from an offside position, but that's unbelievably good play. I mean, I can't believe the centre half. He just takes a gamble. He decides, I'm being run at by Enciso, I'm just going to gamble on tackling him, and it looks as if it is an outrageous gamble, and he gets left for dead. He really does.
Yeah, he was offside. Enciso wouldn't have counted, but again, great play from him. He's been a real joy to watch. A sparkling Premier League debut for him this afternoon back at the club. Here is Ballard. Infield to Roofs on the edge of the Sunderland penalty area. That has to be sort of fully fledged Ipswich Town player. That deal from Strasbourg in the week, effectively a double deal with Abdul Wattara, who I guess we'll see at some point this afternoon. Fatawu having his shirt tugged blatantly by O'Nien. Free kick to Ipswich inside the Sunderland half of the field. Our next full match commentary is on Tuesday night live on BBC Radio. Leicester City here, the old boys reunion, and Angulo standing away that free kick gets a yellow card from the referee. Second Sunderland player to go in the book. Yeah, we'll have full match commentary of Town's second round Carabao Cup tie. Wes Burns and Connor Chaplin here, and of course Abdul Fatawu and Casey McAteer hoping to feature against their former club. O'Shea down the line to Fatawu, running away from Reinilde. Good play from Fatawu, but not the cross that he or any of us wanted, and it's way behind.
Yeah, he can be a threat this year without question. He's got a lot of ability, he's got good pace. That cross, attempted cross there, was with his right foot. He got another right-footed cross in earlier on, so he's okay with his right foot. He's better with his left foot, but I think he'll be okay, once he settles in.
Oh, he's a good player, no doubting that. Just 22, likewise Enciso. The average age from the completely new arrivals, as in not Kipre and Akpom, the new faces this summer. It's just under 25 years in terms of the age profile of the players that Ipswich Town have gone for. Quickly taken through in by O'Shea, finding Fatawu, little drag back, runs into trouble. Reinilde with a throw in for Sunderland. 11 minutes gone after the half-time break. Still as we were at half-time. Ipswich 1, Sunderland 1. Lefay closing down excellently from Maeda on the halfway line. Lefay up against Nunez. Nunez knocks him to the floor legally. But Nunez should have done better to try to play the ball to Enciso. Enciso couldn't get a hold of it through no fault of his own. And it's back with Roofs. Sunderland, of course, you'll hear from Gary O'Neill post-match, and hopefully get an Ipswich Town player on air as well. Xhaka up towards Brobby. Brobby gives it back on this right-hand side in the shade of this near stand to Meunier. Meunier, a little ball round the back towards Hume. Hume with a pull back. A real chance had O'Shea not been there for Angulo to roll the ball into an empty net for his second goal. Well done, the Ipswich skipper. Lefay to Xhaka. Does look like it's got a third goal in at least this game still. Neither side will want to settle for a point anyway. Meunier on the right corner of the Ipswich box gives it back to Lefay. Then Brobby back to the right, and Meunier. Siddiqui now, rare chance for him to roam down the right hand side. Meunier skips in field, bends the ball on the outside of his right foot towards Angulo, headed away by O'Shea. Always the hot favourite to get there first. Fatawu goes down, wins a free kick. Quickly taken by Lukic, trying to get Enciso through, but it hit him on the back, and then he lost sight of it. Unluckily, the idea was right.
Yeah, they're okay, Sunderland. They're not bad. They do some nice, clever things, but I still keep looking at that back line, even on that occasion. They got away with it, but I think they're vulnerable.
Beat West Ham 3-0 on the opening day last season. Sunderland, what a boost that must have given them. Of course, both these sides at one stage in the non-too distant past both had 4 seasons in League One, so it's kind of fairy tale stuff that they're now meeting on the opening day of a Premier League season. It's Town's second season out of 24 in the Premier League. Sunderland have been at the highest level a lot more than that in the past quarter of a century. They did have back-to-back relegations, though, straight from the Premier League to League One with 2 relegations, the opposite of what Town did, as Siddiqui is caught from behind.
Yeah, that was Nian dwelling on the ball unnecessarily again there that caused the problem. They got a free kick in the end, but they were running out. He was running out of ideas, O'Neill, as to where to play the ball. You know, he's not a good player for me.
First change of the afternoon is Angulo, the goal scorer, has gone off. He's also on a yellow card, and Chemsdeen Talbi, a Moroccan international colleague of Issa Diop, is on. A lot of Sunderland fans I spoke to in the build-up to this game thought that Talbi would start the game and Angulo would be on the bench, but it's going to be Talbi, by the looks of things, who finishes it. Talented player. Actually, both played last week in the final pre-season friendly against Rennes. I think it was Angulo on the right on that occasion, Talbi on the left. Diop into midfield for Nunez, one of the 4 players that played for Town last season. The starting lineup forward towards Maeda from the pass of Davis. Maeda took too long to cross into the middle, but he has won Ipswich Town's first corner kick as we approach the hour mark.
Well, this would be handy. You know, we're normally quite good on corner kicks. We've got Diop would be good on this, and O'Shea we know is very good. Greaves is very good. So there's 3 straight away that you can pick out. I would imagine Emerson is not bad either. So, you know, we've got plenty of good targets in there.
Yeah, he's won a couple of headers and had a couple of headed efforts towards goal, Emerson, so far. Corner kick to Ipswich Town, their first of the game. An hour has gone in the sunshine at Portman Road. It's 1-1. All eyes on the penalty area, off to our left-hand side. What can Marcelino Nunez conjure up? His first Premier League appearance for Ipswich Town. Right-footed towards the far stick, chested down by Lukic, then blocked off. Brobby. Can Sunderland do something on the counter-attack? It's Talbi just on the field. Lefay's going through the middle. Lefay wants the pass. Instead he's gone towards Siddiqui, blocked off by the numerous blue shirts coming back. Then Lukic flies over the top of a challenge from Meunier. The ball squirts to Enciso. Lukic is up and okay. For Tawu, making a run through the middle is Dejan Maeda. He's got a number of goals towards the end of a successful Celtic season last year, Maeda. This is the position he played in more often than not for Celtic, kind of off to the left-hand side. He's known for being a great pressing player, as Xhaka goes back to Onai, and still 29 minutes of normal time to go, so another half hour plus of action. Meunier down the right for Sunderland, still as we were just before half-time when Angulo's free kick hit the bar, bounced down and up into the net. 1-1 on BBC Radio Suffolk and BBC Sounds. On the left-hand side is Talbi, gives it back to Reinildo, ball into the box, then it might come to Brobby, blocked away by Davis. Again, good central defending from Davis coming in field. Emerson goes down, foul challenge by Xhaka, who's having none of it, but again the referee seemed to get a good view, and Emerson has bought Ipswich Town a free kick.
Yeah, I think Sunderland are good in possession. They sort of can control the ball and the situation really well, and we saw it on that occasion there, but I do think that they're very, very dodgy at the back, and any counter-attack that we can get going, we have a chance.
Changes are coming. Gary O'Neill's calling back a couple of his subs, maybe McAteer and Akpom, given away by Lukic. Could be one former Leicester player for another, perhaps, if McAteer's coming on. Possibly 4 for Tawu. Well done, O'Shea to Diop. Nunez with a nice layoff to Greaves. Greaves down the line looking for Maeda. Too much on that. Hume gets back off the outside of his right boot. Guys it back to Robin Roofs. Just time to freshen things up
That was a good spot by Jacob Greaves there. That run of Leif Davis is really good. He didn't look as if he had seen it because it wasn't really necessarily looking in that direction.
Oh, and Ciso has robbed O'Nien for the second time in this game. This time he's held up by O'Nien. It's going to be a yellow card for O'Nien. Right on the edge of the area. Can't have any complaints about that. He didn't learn his lesson from the first half, the Sunderland centre-half, clearly.
I'll tell you what, if they had, I don't know whether they've got a centre-half on the bench, but if I was the manager, I'd be looking to replace
Well, Alderete is the obvious choice. It was Ballard and Alderete, pretty much all of that, or for large chunks of last season. That was their first choice. Nine's had a tough afternoon in the team. It's a free kick to Ipswich Town, quite a wide position. Around about 5 yards maybe from the right corner of the Sunderland penalty area. Sunderland with two players on the field on cautions, both the centre-halves, Ballard and O'Nien. Of course, they haven't got a midweek game. The next couple of matches are Fulham and Brentford. So on paper, at least, I thought it's not a bad start to the season, Ipswich, Fulham and Brentford, to get some points. But only one is heading back to the northeast as things stand here. Town free kick. Lukic plays it into the Sunderland box. Diop tries to glance it, header on. Back to Diop it comes now. Fatawu wide right outside the Leicester penalty area. Gets away from his man Talby. Brilliant from Fatawu. Then a pull back comes off a Sunderland player. Almost played a 1-2 with one of the Sunderland players, Fatawu, but he's happy for it to go out for a second Town corner kick.
Yeah, good. That's excellent play by Fatawu. He's a left-footed player, and generally speaking, they normally like to come inside, but if they can go down the outside and they have the confidence like he has to go down there, well, that's a real plus.
65th minute at Portman Road. Ipswich Town corner kick. Abdul Fatawu on his debut for the club. It's 1-1. Sunderland have all 10 pink shirts back in the area off to our left. Fatawu with a left-footed delivery, looks a good one, headed away before the keeper could get there. Smashed up by Nunez, still in play, bounces on the dead ball line. Diop makes something of it, well done Diop. No, he's fouled a Sunderland player, or even two of them. It's a free kick to Sunderland inside their penalty area. Two of their players thoroughly rattled by the challenge of Issa Diop. Granit Xhaka, one of them. So yeah, I mentioned Tuesday night against Leicester. Next Sunday afternoon, it's a 4:30 kick-off at Old Trafford. Manchester United losing to Hull today. They start their home campaign against Ipswich Town next Sunday. Full match commentary on BBC Radio Suffolk of that. It was a game that Town were in for most of that fixture 2 years ago. Here come the changes. That's it for Fatawu's debut. He'll be replaced by, as I say, another former Leicester player, McAteer, who ended last season really well for Ipswich. Had scored that goal against QPR, which meant absolutely certain that Town were getting promoted. Akpom, is he coming on for Emerson? Yes, he is. Chuba Akpom comes on for Ipswich Town. 11 years and 196 days since his last Premier League appearance. That's the second biggest gap between two Premier League appearances. Chuba Akpom only behind Cristiano Ronaldo, who's not in bad company. His was something like 12 years between his two appearances, the Portuguese, but 11 years and 196 days since he played for Arsenal at this level. Here come changes for Sunderland. Off goes Brobbey to be replaced by Isidore. That's like for like. And O'Nien has gone off as well. He's clearly listening to you, McMills, Regis Labrise, and he has been replaced by Omar Alderete, a Paraguayan international colleague of Julio Enciso.
Yeah, he was just having a terrible time at 9, you know, so you can't keep going with him. You know, you have to make a decision. The manager's made a decision, but it'd be interesting to see what. I'm a bit disappointed Fatawu's gone off. We've just been seeing some of his best moments, but let's hope that McAteer can continue the good work down that right-hand side.
Other nationality to add to the mix with Haiti striker Wilson Isidore on for Sunderland, another one of their 12 that went to the World Cup. So right, what can we expect in the final quarter of this game? Sunderland are starting it on the attack, wide right with Lefay. Across comes Nunez. More good defensive work from the former Norwich man, holding up Lefay. Lefay plays it off of Maeda, and out for a throw-in just outside the Sunderland, the Ipswich Town penalty area. Interesting to see what, if anything, Gary O'Neill does with his remaining substitutes. So Enciso now in behind Akpom, who has been getting plaudits in pre-season from his manager and fans alike. Here comes a throw-in from Hume. It's an illegal one. Clearly had both feet on the pitch when he took it. Very sloppy from him. Leif Davis ball on this near side. Every kick of every Ipswich Town game this season on BBC Radio Suffolk Sport. They won't always be on BBC Sounds, but this afternoon is for those supporters in other parts of the world that can't listen to us by the usual method. Throwing down the line, let them know. Headed in field by Sunderland player, and Enciso trying a big switch across the park to McAteer. Didn't quite have enough power on the ball. Reinildo brought it down for Alderete. He excelled in his first season of English football last year, Omar Alderete. Not good play there from Talby. Showed way too much of the ball to a couple of Ipswich Town players and eventually fouled O'Shea. Lukic. Ball goes back to Sherpen. And then Sherpen cleared hard. Sun's disappeared, but still quite breezy. The header from Ballard goes straight to Maeda. Maeda, the number 38, wide left-footed low ball in. Perhaps to Akpom. Akpom's done well to hold it up, but couldn't feed it to a teammate or turn and hit. He had his back to goal. Up to Isidore. Isidore plays a 1-2 with Lefay. Isidore looks up, tries to get it back to Lefay. Finding an almost impossible pass. Blocked off by Diop, nodded down by Nunez to Davis. There's Nunez again back in the defensive third, doing some useful work. Cleared by Sherpen, going as far as Xhaka. So can Ipswich Town go on and get at least a point on the opening day of the new Premier League season? Coventry didn't get any. Hull got all three. At the moment Town have one within their grip. Siddiqui to Meunier. One touch, then looks up. In comes a good-looking cross, headed away by Greaves, chested down by McAteer. McAteer goes back to Maeda. And Maeda touches the ball out of play because Enciso is down, needing a bit of treatment. Let's hope that he's okay. Jack Clark coming on to feature against his former club for the first time.
Well, I'm glad he's getting an opportunity because he is a talented player, and you know, he's one that you want to see if he can come up to standard in the Premier League. He's excellent in the Championship, and he deserves a chance to just see if he can produce similar stuff in the big league. So, good opportunity for him.
He scored in this fixture here the last time these two sides met in the Championship. It was a consolation goal for Sunderland on that occasion. Town won through Jackson and Chaplin strikes. Town have won the last three by 2-1. Well, it happened 3 times in a row. Standing ovation, deservedly so, for Julio Enciso. Every chance we might not see him until Old Trafford. Not because the injury looks anything bad, it doesn't at all. It's going to be precautionary. He's walking off freely away from the Ipswich Town medical staff. So on close inspection at the moment, nothing to worry about. But he won't start against Leicester. Big smile on his face. Big smile on the face of Gary O'Neill as well, as he gives him a bit of a hug, and he settles down below us. Clark on the field and playing in that number 10 role.
Yeah, it's interesting. Jack Clark going to 10, Akpom being our number 9. They were both with us last year and very, very rarely played in that sort of partnership. So, you know, very interesting one. Something the manager might have seen in pre-season.
Yeah, he has played a bit there, Clark, in recent weeks. Sherpen, number 37 on his back. Walton, incidentally, on the bench. Christian Walton didn't play a minute in pre-season because of injury. Van Overland did, and Sherpen certainly did. Block challenge from Ballard, which was last ditch. Nice spin from Xhaka to find Lefay. Good feet from him to Siddiqui, who's just overrun it for once. The ball then pops up in the air. Too much on it for Hume. Davis brings it down, goes back to Greaves. Somebody's got to tell Greaves Isidore's behind him, so didn't want him just turning blindly and looking for a pass to Sherpen, because Isidore would have been onto it. Here is Ballard. He plays it square to Alderete. Almost certainly the pair that will start for Sunderland in their next game next weekend against Fulham at the Stadium of Light. Flicked forward by Meunier. Offside against Sunderland. The referees acknowledged that. Ipswich Town free kick. Now who's going to have a bit more about them and go on and grasp another couple of points from this game? Lukic and O'Shea play the ball between them. Back it goes to Diop. Diop's under pressure. Gives the ball away to Talby. Talby to Siddiqui. Siddiqui pings it off of McAteer. And after that ping, it goes back to O'Shea. O'Shea up towards Maeda. Taller Meunier nods it forward towards Hume. He has Leif Davis for close company. Down I've got Ouattara, Furlong and Kipre warming up on this near side. Through the legs of Clark, Alderete finds Xhaka. Xhaka forward. Only a couple of these Sunderland players actually played with Jack Clark in his time in the North East, Hume and Ballard. Now back to Xhaka once again on the left-hand side. Talby outside the Ipswich Town area. A couple of step-overs. In comes his right-footed cross, nodded away by Maeda, back helping out. So too Nunez was in there, kind of been defending en masse. So yeah, you'll hear from Gary O'Neill, his first post-match interview after a competitive game as Ipswich Town manager. Nunez catches a Sunderland player. Should have been a foul and a free kick. The referee seemed to play the advantage, which didn't work out for Sunderland. So onwards we go with Ipswich Town in possession. Sherpen, first time pass to Leif Davis. Davis over halfway, finding Maeda. Davis continues run. Tired looking ball from Maeda. That wasn't good enough. Nowhere near Davis. Xhaka gets it back for Sunderland. There is Alderete. 29 minutes pretty much on the clock in this second half. I'll have former Ipswich Town women's boss Joe Sheehan alongside me on commentary duties on Tuesday night. Looking forward to working with Joe, now the assistant head coach at Charlton in the WSL. Meunier down the right hand side to Hume, little back heel from Hume to Meunier. In comes Meunier's cross, looks a decent one. O'Shea didn't want to take any chances, did the right thing under pressure from Talby. It's another throw to Sunderland though. Once more outside the Ipswich Town penalty area, live on BBC Radio Suffolk and BBC Sound. Still 1-1.
Yeah, it's a very quiet moment in the game. This is Sunderland sort of having most of the possession and not sort of engineering anything really, and Town sort of looking a little bit of a threat on the break, but at the moment not really looking that dangerous. So it's a very, very quiet spell.
33 years since Ipswich Town last won their opening game of a Premier League season, 3-0 away at Oldham. Throw-in which O'Shea will take. An awful lot of Ipswich Town's younger fans won't even realise that Oldham were at the very highest level. It's a good win on that occasion. Now it's with Ballard at the back for Sunderland. Egley and Ouattara being sent out by Gary O'Neill's staff for a warm-up. There is Ballard. Back to Roofs. Roofs out short to Xhaka. Clark yet to get involved from Ipswich Town's perspective. Doing a fair bit of chasing. They're not been on the ball yet. Xhaka to Lefay. Good challenge from Greaves. Straight onto Lefay. Brilliant from the former Hull player. Akpom does well to find Clark. Thankfully now on the ball, the number 47. Davis is on the left-hand side. This is good from Town outside the Sunderland area. Cross is blocked off by Ballard. The crowd react. Ipswich Town have a corner kick.
Yeah, that's a pairing we saw many times last year, was Davis and Clark. Clark isn't playing down the left, but he had wandered across here, and they combined lovely there to sort of get into a threatening position, and in the end winning the corner kick. Good play by those two.
Sasha Lukic on this corner kick for Ipswich Town. Let's see if he can get an assist, or at least cause some trouble on his competitive debut for the Blues. Be a big goal if this one were to materialise. It's 1-1, final 14 minutes. It comes to the Sunderland area, punched away by Roofs, not very far as Nunez, who brings it down for McAteer. Back it goes to Davis, who jabs it into the Sunderland area to no one in particular. Thought Nunez might have struck that towards goal. Cleared away by Roofs. Back header from Davis, drops down nicely to Nunez. It's been noticeable how much tracking back he's done to help out defensively. Nunez in the second half in particular has done some good work. Davis, just south of the centre circle. There is Issa Diop, former West Ham player as well. Diop, given away by McAteer up towards Isidore. In goes Diop. Isidor's first touch wasn't good enough. Now it's with Lukic. two former Fulham players working to great effect defensively there for Town. Lukic just held on to the ball, almost done a full 360 with it before he eventually get it back to Nunez, who again has slotted in behind him. Now Greaves to Maeda. He just has days in terms of his Christian name across his shoulders. Once more, Nunez with the ball. 12 and a half to go on BBC Radio Suffolk Sport. 1-1, Emerson and then Angulo with the goals in the first half. Emerson since has gone off to be replaced by this man, Akpom, who's just won Ipswich down and throw in on the far side. I think we might be about to see Ouattara and Egley. Ouattara is certainly getting some words of instruction from Gary O'Neill with his iPad down below us. 12 to go. Greaves to Maeda. Maeda looks infield, gives the ball back to Nunez as the sun comes out once more in Ipswich. Town with plenty of the ball. Can they, though, do some damage? Now, the keeper's had a great deal to do in the second half, it has to be said. Greaves just got onto the ball, finds Davis down the line. He comes infield, then toe pokes it to Lukic. Leeds Musty, who's been closed down. Lukic gets it back away from Lefebvre to Greaves. Nunez, likewise, just skips away from the challenge of Isidore. Dara O'Shea hoists it forward. Akpom's going to go after it. He's onto it. The man has gone down. The referee's blown his whistle this time. He's not going to play the advantage. It's a foul on Ballard.
Yeah, I think that's fair.
Shot there, Akpom, though.
Yeah, but just looking at Nunez, he's sort of quite enjoying playing as the deepest one of the midfield too. So he's certainly getting a lot of the ball there, and he's pretty good on the ball, so it won't do him any harm.
A couple of changes for Sunderland. They're taking off Hume, and they're replacing him with the very talented 19-year-old Chris Rigg. Made his debut for Sunderland at 15 under Tony Mowbray. And Lefebvre is the other player who has gone off. And Diarra has come on. Changes for Town. Maeda comes off. Let's see who's going to replace him. The other one coming off is Nunez. Nunez and Maeda come off. And it's an Ipswich Town debut for Abdul Ouattara. And a Premier League debut for Sindre Waller Egley. As a Norwegian goal scorer in the Premier League last night in terms of Martin Ødegaard. He'll certainly be one at the Etihad in the not too distant future. What about Sindre Waller Egley and also Abdul Ouattara? Very versatile player, Abdul Ouattara. Midfielder, can play full-back. Gary Neal says he's got a specific role in mind for him. He's gone into midfield so far this afternoon. Jack Clark's gone out to the left. Egley looks to be playing in the 10. He has done well in pre-season. There is Ouattara getting back. Came through the academy at Strasbourg, the 22-year-old. His first touch is a defensive one, taking the ball out of play. On for the final 10 minutes of this match, the pair of them. Meunier has this throw-in for Sunderland. Town have everyone back in the box off to our right-hand side. In it comes to the Ipswich area, headed away by Greaves, out as far as Xhaka. Xhaka heads it back to the right-hand side of Meunier, tries the spectacular. Sherpen had to be alert. It was a really good effort from Meunier. Sherpen got down on it, comfortable enough on the end, his near post. It was a curling effort from wide right that he hit first time. It was arrowed in towards the near post, but the Dutchman was down and scooped it up. Akpom against Ballard, he heads it on in that battle of two former Arsenal players, headed up by Alderete. 36 and a half minutes gone. I wouldn't imagine there'd be too many people leaving this one early. Goodness me, they must have something exciting lined up for this evening if they do, because Town are still in with a chance of winning their opening game of the Premier League season for the first time in more than 3 decades. Sherpen, big overarm throw to O'Shea on the far side, on halfway, the captain at right back. And it has been right back throughout this afternoon. Meunier with a little glance down to this near side, and Rigg, still only 19, approaching 100 league appearances for the club. Diop back towards Sherpen. 8 to go, live on BBC Radio Suffolk, and this afternoon BBC Sounds in town, making it a miserable long journey back to the northeast for those Sunderland fans, one of their longest trips of the season. Alderete in behind left back at the moment, clears it up towards the forehead of O'Shea. To say we'll have reaction from Gary O'Neill and hopefully an Ipswich Town player before off air at 6 o'clock. Egley just penalised for a foul charge there. Dan Ballard's having his say. Ouattara and McAteer, the peacekeepers.
I think this is one of those games that's at a stage where both teams probably will think that they could possibly win the game, but they will both know that there's a chance that if they take too many risks, they could lose it as well. So be interesting to see how both teams finish the game, how adventurous they want to be, how keen they are to get 3 points as opposed to 1.
Siddiqui, understandable from both teams' perspective, one away from home, one newly promoted, but a point would be a steady start for the pair of them. If they get an opportunity, they're going to take it. Diarra gives the ball to Meunier down this right-hand side, up against Clark, back defending, and defending very well. Good work from Clark. Then he picks out a ball to Akpom, well controlled by Akpom. That wasn't as easy as he made it look, and it sandwiched that between a couple of players. Clearly a foul. Well done, Chuba Akpom. He's won Ipswich Town. Free kick just short of the halfway line. Shani Aluko, who's sitting just to my left-hand side, applauds. Still on the coaching staff here, even after this big summer of change. Shani Aluko, which is good to see. 29,669 watching this 1-1 draw so far. There is that Egley, tripped by Siddiqui. He good on the far side of the field.
He's actually had quite a quiet second half, Siddiqui, compared with his first half.
He has, hasn't he, rather. Regis Lebris looking rather stern in his grey hooded tracksuit top down below us. The TV camera's just on him. Chance we might hear from Chuba Akpom, incidentally, before that game on Tuesday night against Leicester here, with a bit of luck. Sasha Lukic on this long-range free kick for Ipswich Town, over on the far side, their right, targeting a blue shirt in the box off to our left. Into the area it comes, up goes Roofs, up against Greaves it was, closest to in the end. It was an easy one to deal with. Final 5 minutes of normal time at the end of this first game of the season. It took Town until the end of their third game last time around to get a point on the Premier League table, albeit it was Liverpool and Manchester City first up. Ball in field towards Siddiqui. Ouattara almost robbed him. Siddiqui got it back though. Now Siddiqui once more on that far touchline next to the Sunderland supporters, gives it forward to Talby. Sherpen appeals for an offside, not given just yet. Here comes his attempted cross off Diop. Sunderland have won their first corner of the half.
Yeah, they've won a corner when perhaps our defence should have been sort of holding the line a bit better than they did, because Siddiqui definitely delayed that pass, and actually he has gone offside, and then we've gone back to defend it again. We should have stayed on a high line.
Granit Xhaka on this corner kick for Sunderland, which has to be a concern for those of an Ipswich Town persuasion, which of course the vast majority of us are in the ground this afternoon. It comes from the Swiss, headed away by his opposing captain O'Shea, and as far as Diarra. Has to get it back towards Roofs. Gary O'Neill very animated, both hands high and wide above his head, jumping up and down. O'Shea heads the ball away from Ballard, who caught him late. Ballard's going to watch his step, he's on a yellow card. He's going to be okay though, Dara. Kind of stern stuff. Nice to hear from him earlier on match day.
Yeah, I think he expected the referee to intervene there, because that was a bad challenge. Any other time he probably would have given him. If it hadn't had a yellow, he would have got a yellow.
Get in touch afterwards. You can call 0800 141 2121. Text 81333. Start those messages SFK. WhatsApps to 08000 321 333. Again, put SFK at the start of those. Or looking ahead to Monday night's Blue Hour show. Tell you a bit more about that in a second. As Town are challenging for the ball It's going to be a Sunderland ball at the back. Yeah, if you want to get in touch with me on Monday night's Blue Hour, we'll be assessing this game and looking ahead to Leicester and Manchester United on the horizon. 6 till 7 on Monday on BBC Radio Suffolk and BBC Sounds. The email address, brenner@bbc.co.uk, brenner@bbc.co.uk. Love to see Marcus Stewart and his wife Louise in the crowd for this fixture. Both clubs, of course, very close to his heart, and as ever we wish Marcus all the very best. What a player he was for these two clubs, quite rightly loved by both sets of supporters. There have been a number of connections down the years, numerous players, and of course a certain Roy Keane and Mick McCarthy managed with two of them. Here is Sherpen, as we're 2.5 minutes away from being told how much added on time there is going to be. Ballard has to judge this bouncing ball. Egley's going to try and get onto it. Alderete gets it up to halfway. O'Shea goes back towards Sherpen. Kind of lost obviously a little bit of sparkle since Enciso went off, which is understandable. Ballard getting the better of Akpom. Meunier with a short header. It looked short. Might have allowed Clark to nip in there, but Roofs was well positioned. Meunier, final couple of minutes of the 90. Opts to go back to Ballard. The Mays of Sunderland are overly ambitious in terms of looking for a winning goal. Ipswich Town possibly the same. Alderete to Xhaka. Siddiqui has it. Back it goes to halfway, and Granit Xhaka. Now Dan Ballard. Sunderland with plenty of the ball at the moment, but not really making inroads. Leif Davis nods the ball down and away from Chris Rigg. And it's a throw-in for Thomas Meunier. 34 years of age, very, very experienced Meunier. Played a lot of Champions League football. Been at Lille in recent times. Came on a free. Alderete. No, onto the forehead of O'Shea. Now McAteer infield to Egley. Back it goes to Lukic. Lukic with a switch. Clark's not going to get there. Meunier is. And fairly dependable. His little header back to his goalkeeper. Final 30 seconds of the 90 minutes. Given away. Mistake from Alderete. Lukic is onto it. Now Clark. Jack Clark against his former club. Wins it for Ipswich! What a moment! Jack Clark with his first Premier League goal for Ipswich Town might just have handed them a huge 3 points on the opening day of the Premier League season. A big win for Gary O'Neill on day number 1. Now can they see out added on time? That goal came right on the stroke of the 90th minute. They've got 4 minutes to navigate, but at this stage Ipswich Town leads Sunderland 2-1.
Another big mistake, and this is what the game's been all about, and it's been punished by an absolutely excellent goal by Jack Clark. He's so good at doing that, just stepping inside on his right foot, and, you know, far corner, easy. Found it with aplomb. Great goal, big mistake. Terrible mistake in the centre of midfield by Sunderland. Very lackadaisical, and they have been punished fully.
Sunderland fans will be thinking it had to be him, didn't it? And yeah, he didn't score 2 seasons ago for Ipswich Town. 16 last time around. Their leading goal scorer, and of course, he thoroughly enjoyed the celebrations. Sunderland, now then, what can they do? Defeat for Coventry, win for Hull. Is it going to be a win for Ipswich Town? Here is Diarra, as I say, probably just at the start of the added-on 4 minutes, really now, because of the celebrations and the restart. On the right-hand side, Meunier. Town haven't won on the opening day of a top-flight season for 33 years. Good work from Akpom on Xhaka, and then another good challenge on Ballard, who has a little nibble at Akpom. Daft from Ballard to get involved in anything. 2-1 Ipswich Town lead. Are they going to have 3 points on the board at Old Trafford already next week? Still time to change. Xhaka with the ball into the box. Good header away from the captain. O'Shea out as far as Akpom. He gives it to Ouattara, through to Clark. Clark has work to do. He goes early, just away from Roofs. You can see why he did go early. He needed to curl at the other side of the goalkeeper, and he would have been in lots of trouble, Robin Roofs.
Yeah, I think this was possibly the right thing to do, but I think the actual thing he's tried is wrong. Go for goal, but get it over the top of the goalkeeper. Don't try and slide it down the side.
Well, I mentioned anyone leaving early. Surely no one did. They might have missed a winning goal for Ipswich Town. It took them 11 games to get a win in the Premier League 2 years ago, all the way to November. They've got their fingertips, no more on one at the moment. We're not taking anything for granted. Listen to the atmosphere inside Portman Road. Xhaka to Meunier on the right. Ball in field, headed up by Ouattara. Headed away by Meunier. Xhaka for Sunderland. 10 blue shirts behind the ball. 3 minutes into the added-on 4. In comes the cross into the Ipswich area. Volleyed away by O'Shea. Again, more excellent work from the captain. Great scenes from the bench, incidentally, when the goal went in. Alderete out to the right side. Meunier seeing a lot of the ball. Gives it back to Xhaka, still a danger. Left-footed delivery into the Ipswich area for him. Again, O'Shea's in the way. Out it comes as a shot, blocked by the captain. Remarkable. He's gone down holding his face. He's back up on his feet. Brilliant from O'Shea. Xhaka to Meunier. Hold on to your hats. Left-footed ball in the box. Sherpen comes for it. He's come a long way successfully. Good punch from the giant. Out it goes. There's a tangle of legs. Play continues. Free kick given the way of Ipswich Town by Farai Halam. That's what we need. Big hug for Sherpen from Leif Davis and Issa Diop. Julio Enciso, hardly surprisingly, Ipswich Town's man of the match. Live on BBC Radio Suffolk Sport, Ipswich Town are now literally seconds away from a Premier League victory on the opening day of the 26-27 season. Gary O'Neill, a whisker from winning his first competitive game in charge of Ipswich Town at the very highest level. Sherpen with this free kick. Still we go on, high out to the far side, over the top of Eggerly, out of play. Sunderland throw in. Long old miserable journey back to the northeast for their supporters. Sunderland have the ball at the back with Alderete. Referee puts his whistle to his lips and Ipswich Town win on the opening day of the Premier League season for the first time in 33 years. What a smile on the face of Gary O'Neill. The perfect start to his tenure at Portman Road. That late winner from Jack Clark, the former Sunderland player, has handed them a 2-1 victory over the Black Cats.
Well, I think there's relief in the stadium. I think there's relief with the team, and then the staff are relieved. I think everybody's relieved because this was, you know, so important to actually win this game without saying it. You know, you just felt that we needed to get a good result today to take on what's just ahead of us, and it was a very, very close game. Not particularly impressed with Sunderland. I am staggered that they finished 7th last year, but they did. They must have deserved it. But on today's performance, I can't see them seriously being in the top half. We have a lot of work to do. We've had 1 or 2 real pluses. Funny enough, 3 of the players that were the best players in the first half actually went off the pitch, and the win has been gained by people who were on the bench. So it just shows you really what the bench can do sometimes. But very impressed with the combination between Emerson and Enciso. I thought Fatawu was beginning to get his game going when he was brought off, and when those changes were made, I was a little bit worried that we wouldn't have enough to actually go and win this game. And with all the possession that Sunderland had, I thought there was a threat that they could win it, but I didn't think Sunderland were really good enough to go and win it. We sort of have, we've won the game purely and simply because we have a player in Jack Clark that can seize on an opportunity like he got, and 2-1, great result, 3 points, good start to the season, but there's a lot of work to be done, there really is, no question about it. But if I'm saying that about Town, I'm saying it about Sunderland. I think there's work to be done in the Sunderland side. They finished 7th last year, so you know it's difficult really to analyse this one. It really is. I just felt that with 15 minutes to go, any team could have won it, any team could have lost it. Who was going to take the risk? And in actual fact, Sunderland took the risk by messing about with the ball inside their own half. They lost possession, one pass to Jack Clark, one control, shot in the back of the net, job done. So, good result, enjoy it, supporters will enjoy it, players will enjoy it, the staff certainly will enjoy it, but everybody will know that come Monday morning there is work, an awful lot of work to be done.
Before Monday morning, though, just enjoy your Saturday night and your Sunday, because Ipswich Town have won in the Premier League. They've levelled, they've equalled the number of home victories in the whole of the season 2 years ago. Just the one that day against Chelsea. They've done it on day one here against Sunderland, and Mark Ashton and everyone the last few days has been talking about making this ground a fortress this season. Well, 100% record at this stage as Emerson does the fist bumps towards the north stand. Obviously the thousands, the vast majority in here, now heading towards the exit gates, are going to really enjoy themselves, and why not? Ipswich Town have got off to a winning start this Premier League season. That late Jack Clark goal, adding to the earlier one by Emerson on his debut, has handed them a 2-1 win over Sunderland. Gary O'Neill and a player on the way.